It's almost time, get your DAG hats on.
Good morning, everybody. It's DAG here, right here on the DAG Show. Morning coffee with me, yours truly, the DAG. The one and only. That's who I am. That's what it is. And we're going to talk about a lot of great things today. Got a crazy Santa here in Chicago who denies a kid from getting his toy. We got to talk about mandates versus laws and, Chef Cruel in California. We're going to be right back here on the DAG Show. Stay tuned. This is going to be a fun one.
You're listening to DAG. It's the DAG Show, featuring DAG and some other people.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's me, DAG, live on the DAG. Well, sort of live. I mean, I'm alive, and I'm here on the DAG Show. Welcome, and thanks everybody who's been reaching out to me about the new shows, the new show format. I really appreciate it. It's really been fantastic. To be able to do it this way, get back into the element that I'm the most comfortable with, which is clearly sitting in front of a microphone with a pair of headphones so I can hear my own voice beaming in my head at high decibels with lots of bass. That's the way I roll best. Wow, what a busy week. Putting together these shows has been a lot of fun. It's I've been of course, I'm completely always overwhelmed, and I do that to myself. So it's, not to blame. But I want to make sure that I bring a good show to the people who follow me, and the people who will follow me. I want to start out by thanking the whole team over at FKN Solutions, my manager Lynn, everybody who's really been pushing really, really hard. We've got so much going on, and guess what's coming? The big reveal. Next Thursday, October 17th, 8 p.m., hosted by Dino Manzella. That handsome son of a gun is going to interview me again, and we talk about all the new shows. We got Life Rides, Let's Eat, the concert series, the DAG shows. I did a polygraph. We're going to talk about, the history of how this kind of all came to be. And I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very excited about it and where we're going. What's really important is where the DAG show is going, what everybody's doing to take that to a new place. The things that are happening behind the scenes right now are crazy, man. It's really, really cool, and I'm really excited you all are here, and I hope you all go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Get to the DAG Show YouTube channel. YouTube has changed a lot of their parameters, so I can't have YouTube/the DAG Show until I reach a certain paramount that is designed and specified by YouTube. So I really need you to go there. I put the link up every day. You'll see a picture of me in my car pointing up with stupid looks on my faces. Go ahead and please go there and subscribe so the DAG Show team can do what they need to do. They need your help, and I need your help in order for us to continue to grow this and bring common sense thought, to provoke thought in America in a very different way than Fox does and CNN does and MSNBC. Listen, I'm not a Tucker Carlson, a Dan Bongino, or Rachel Maddow. Well, I am kind of a Rachel Maddow because I'm technically a lesbian trapped in a man's body. But we don't have a machine to feed like that. So we're not at the mercy of advertisers at this point, and I don't think we ever will be. What I want to do here is provoke thought. I want to get us all thinking about how crazy things are, how good things are, how bad things are, whatever the issue is. I want to try and be in the middle and just provoke some thought and voice some of my own opinions. If you've been following me for any length of time, I'm I'm pretty good with my own opinions. But today we got some things to talk about. One of them I want to talk about is mandates versus laws, because there's a lot of things that are popping up on the internet. And I will address this, the Texas lawsuit. But this is as far as I'm going to go with it. That's it. You just heard it. Until there's enough information, there's too much stuff I can't confirm, so I'm not going to get into that dialogue until I have enough information to actually have, enough things to say where I can provoke some thought and have an opinion. Right now, I don't. It sounds exciting as a conservative, but on the other hand, who knows? But anyway, there are a couple of things that have been happening across the country. One is Andrew Krul, who is a chef who owns 27 restaurants in California, called out as governor, which is fantastic, and I'm gonna pull that up. And then here in Chicago at Harlem Irving Plaza, there's a Santa who denied a child his toy. We're going to talk about on Morning Coffee here with me, Dag, yours truly. Santa denied a kid his toy. And I want you to hear this video. And this news went national, and it's an interesting story because it's so ridiculously stupid. I don't know what's happened to this country where everybody, including a paid Santa, needs to impose his will and his political beliefs on a 6 or 7 year old boy named Michael. What the hell is the matter with you? I mean, at the end of the day, you're an idiot. I just don't understand that. All you have to do is sit in Harlem Irving Plaza Mall there in Norridge, Illinois, which is just outside Chicago, and listen to kids say they want something. Can you imagine if a conservative Santa was up there? And there is a lesbian Barbie, by the way. There is literally a lesbian Barbie. Comes with the rainbow flag and all that stuff. I don't know if you have to. Well, I think you got to order it special, but it exists. Can you imagine what what would happen if a conservative Santa denied a little girl her lesbian Barbie because maybe she has, two moms. Maybe her parents are two women. And then Santa says, "No, I'm conservative. You can't have that." Well, that's what happened in this case. And this little boy asked for a Nerf gun. I want you to hear this exchange, which is the most ridiculous thing ever in the history of this country. Hold on. Let me back this up here. Some of it's kind of hard to hear, but then the boy starts crying. I mean, literally, that is a picture of the Santa and the little boy. The little boy starts crying. Mom takes him to the mall to talk to Santa, and they have this big table at Harlem Irving Plaza. And I know this because I actually was there the other day. And but they have this big table between Santa and the children that sit down. And this is what this jerkwad said. So hold on, I'm trying to get this here. Bear with me. Let me get my coffee out of the way.
Bud, what do you want for Christmas?
Listen to Santa.
No. Yeah, what? No guns. Nerf gun. No, not even a Nerf gun. No, if your dad wants to get it for you, that's fine, but I can't bring it to you. Well, what else would you like? Lots of other toys. There's Legos, there's bicycles, there's cars and trucks. What do you think?
So Santa's now baiting the kid. There's cars and trucks, there's bicycles. If I was that parent, I would have said, "Hey, Mr. Ideology here, you liberal knucklehead. What... Can we just pretend you said yes, you're going to get him since you're pretending to be Santa?" I mean, so the kid starts crying, right? And let me continue to play this. Hold on.
It's okay if your dad...
"Oh, don't cry. I'm Santa. I just told you to go screw yourself. I am Santa. I will determine what you will get for Christmas." Then what's the point of having Santa there?
Yeah, you'll still get it. It's okay.
I'm watching this video as I'm playing this, and you should look it up on YouTube. I mean, it's just mortifying to me in any way that adults' ideologies have gone so far that when you're dressed up pretending to be Santa Claus, that now you're going to jam your ideologies and ruin Christmas for some little kid. What is the matter? We are not in this country at war over race, color, creed, economic status. We are in a cultural war right now. We are at war with ourselves over cultural ideologies. Now, they stem from political belief systems, but this is a cultural war we're in, and it's awful. I mean, that is probably one of the most I've seen a lot of disturbing videos. I've watched abortion videos, but at the very core of this, why this bothers me so much, because here's a man pretending to be Santa. He's being paid to bring joy to children, and he's injecting his political ideologies into that and rejecting the love and kindness that Santa is supposed to bring to children to say, yes, Michael, we'll get you that Nerf gun where it's full of foam balls and kids run around the house and you can hit a baby with it and the baby would laugh and get joy out of it. But this Santa here at Harlem Irving Plaza in Chicago, in Norridge, Illinois, is going to ruin Christmas for this kid. I mean, just put your mind around how idiotic and ridiculous this is. It's really, really sad that anybody, regardless of your political affiliation, would even consider doing, "No, I'm not bringing you a gun." And the mom says, it's a Nerf gun, not even a Nerf gun. You can go to your dad and ask him to get you that. Would you like a car or a bicycle? Yeah, I'd like a Ferrari. I I mean, it's just so idiotic and so stupid. I can't. It's just unfathomable. So what had happened? So there's a good part of this story, and I'm sure it's part of damage control. So Harlem Irving Plaza fired the Santa. Duh. That's what you do. You fire an idiot Santa. And then what they did is they dressed up another Santa and sent them to these people's house and brought this kid the biggest Nerf gun ever made. So the story kind of ended well, but is it really a good ending if it started out so poorly? That's kind of like punching your wife in the face and making up with her. and somehow after her black eye heals, everything's okay. This is such an awful story. Regardless of how it ended, it says a lot about America, and unfortunately, it disparages and says a lot about the left. It really disparages their message. You are a hired Santa there to bring joy and smiles to children's faces, and you're injecting your political ideology into the choice of a toy a child wants who's 6 or 7 years old. You're a complete idiot. You're not, in my opinion, a person like that who takes on the task of, being Santa, you're not a person. I don't care what your political position. You're not fit for human society. You're just a knucklehead. You're such an idiot that you shouldn't work. You should be just stay in your house. Put a mask on. Stay in your house. It's absolutely atrocious, and it was just so offensive to me. I'm beside myself on this whole video, and every time I watch it, I get kind of upset and aggravated and kind of angry about it because I just can't wrap my head around how silly people are. But anyway, so that's one thing I wanted to share with you here in Morning Coffee with the DAG. I'm DAG. I'm your host, and remember, don't forget to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. We need that. We have a great team behind us. You can Google it, The DAG Show, and bam, you'll find me. I'm right there on the first page. DAG is becoming everywhere. Don't you like when I talk about myself in the third person? But anyway, for those of you just joining us, welcome to Morning Coffee here with the DAG. And remember, you can always go back and rewatch these videos. They're up here. And go to thedagshow.com. And you can see all the videos. The most current video is always on the homepage. So, thedagshow.com, and bam, you're right there. And there's the most current video. So you can get your fill of me, get just loaded up with the DAG. You can get filled up with the DAG. And at thedagshow.com, you'll find the DAG shows, the concert series, life rides. All these things are all coming, and we're excited about them. The new store will be open to get all your cool swag, that you like. That makes sense. Got cool tumblers coming, cool coffee mugs. I'm using for morning coffee, I'm using an Edible Arrangements coffee mug I borrowed from a friend because I have nothing here. I picked none of my stuff up from storage, and I literally have this table, a chair, this audio equipment, and my guitars here. And so that's what's going on here at the DAG Show, but that's all going to change. Your internet's not even hooked up here yet. But it should be here in the next couple of days. Anyway, so the next thing to talk about, which I think is really important, is Andrew Cruel is a chef out of California. Did I pull up his thing? No, I did not. Anyway, this chef out of California defied Governor Newsom's mandates, and we're going to get to this conversation on mandates here in just a minute. But he owns 27 restaurants in California, and the governor just says, okay, we're going to outlaw outdoor dining now. And this is what he had to say, and then we'll go to it and we'll discuss it. Bear with me here 1 second. This is Chef Andrew Cruel, and this is what he had to say as he called out the governor.
seriously, so I'm just going to address it all right here so that I actually don't have to individually go back and forth and box with every single one of these fake accounts. So here's the situation. Do we take the pandemic seriously? Of course we do. Am I saying that we shouldn't close outdoor dining? Yes, I am. At every single juncture along the way here, from the beginning shutdown to today, we've listened to all of the advice from our government officials, only to be shut down over and over and over again, and then not compensated for the elements that we put in place in our businesses in order to protect our customers. We shut down indoor dining, no problem. I got a warehouse full of plexiglass right now, okay? We went outdoors, all right? Now that's getting shut down. I just put thousands of dollars into outdoor heaters. There is zero scientific evidence that proves that outdoor dining is contributing to a rise in cases related to this, all right? I am only saying that we are going to continue dining outdoors because I can get on an airplane and I can fly and eat and do whatever I want. And don't tell me it's the HIPAA filters, okay? Because that's not the case. You don't turn those on until you get onto the plane. Before that, everybody's fornicating on top of each other. I can go into Walmart. Heck, I don't even have to wear pants. Nobody wears a mask at Walmart. I can go get a pink cockatoo for my Christmas tree, but I can't go and dine outdoors at a restaurant. I can go to Target. Amazon's making tons of money. All big business is getting rich. Okay, outdoor dining does not lead to any of that. Therefore, screw that. We're staying open outdoors. It's that simple. I'm not an asshole. The governor is.
That's a huge, that's really huge. And I think, more people need to stand up on this. And this is how we're going to get into the conversation of mandates versus laws. Because I'm seeing a lot of posts of people saying mandates are not laws and laws are not mandates and blah, blah, blah. So I did my homework on this and we're going to discuss it. He's right. And here in Chicago, which is where I'm located, they're allowing outdoor dining, but we're not in California. It's 35 degrees here, 40 degrees here. And I pointed this out. I went to dinner with a friend about a week and a half ago, and we went to an Indian restaurant, a really nice Indian restaurant outside Chicago, and they have this outdoor patio, which is really not, it's on a slab. It's not like in a parking lot with a tent. It's an outdoor patio, beautiful place. And it has these doors that open. They're all glass, so they're kind of like these bifold doors. All they had to do was crack them. Now, the entryway into this is huge. But you can't sit like past this one line. You go over that line, you're safe from COVID. You come here, you're going to die. I mean, it's so stupid and preposterous. And what Chef Andrew pointed out here is about the HIPAA filters. Okay, restaurants and have HVAC systems that are constantly filtering the air. And they generally run them all the time. Whether the air is on or not, the fans are generally running to constantly be circulating the air, to get the smell of cooking out, to get the smell of people out, to get the smell of whatever is in the building out. And just constantly moving it along. And many of those units have what are called economizers on them all across the country. And an economizer brings in fresh air. It mixes fresh air with the air that's in the building. And depending on how it's set up, it's transferring 50-50 air. So you're constantly bringing in fresh air. It's not like sitting in a box next to somebody, in a 6x6 box, next to somebody, who has COVID spitting in your face. This whole thing of restaurants and bars having to close down is ridiculous. I mean, there clearly is some evidence that when you're confined and you're around people, there's plenty of evidence that that you're around people that have COVID, you might catch COVID. But there's no evidence that proves you're going to get really sick and die from it. There's not. All the evidence is linked to, the average age of a person who dies from COVID is 80 with comorbidities. Children, kindergarten to 12, have literally almost, it's 0.024 or something risk of actually contracting the disease, the illness, the virus. Let's not call it a disease. It's a virus, okay? It's essentially the cold or the flu. It is. It's a terrible version of it, but that's essentially what it is. People 18 to 29 have a 99.7, 99.8 recovery rate if they have it, and most people who catch it don't even know they got it. So it's completely stupid to say that you can't sit outside, and Gavin Newsome has to shut down outdoor dining. So now you can't be outside. There is zero evidence that says being outside puts you at risk of any kind. In fact, the evidence is all the opposite. And what is one of the remedies to fight COVID? It's vitamin D. Where do you get vitamin D? From the sun. From the sun. Get outside, people. Go get your vitamin D. It's a natural vaccination, so to speak, to a certain degree against COVID. Get outside, be with your friends, be with your family. So let's bring this to mandates, okay? Because this is an important issue. Let's talk about what a mandate is. Now, a lot of people have been saying, mandates are not laws. Mandates are not laws. Well, that's not entirely true. Because mandate, by definition, is an order that a governor is given by its legislature in a time of crisis, okay, in an emergency situation. And it says here, let me read it. In politics, a mandate is the authority granted by a constituency to act as its representatives. The concept of a government having a legitimate mandate to govern via the fair winning of a democratic election is a central idea of representative democracy. So let's just read the definition. It's really small. That's why I'm having a hard time reading it. An official order or commission to do something is one, as a noun. And number two, as a noun, the authority to carry out a policy or course of action regarded as given by the electorate to a candidate or party that is victorious in an election. So in other words, when we're talking about mandates here, we're talking about in my state, Governor Pritzker was elected by the constituency by a majority vote, and therefore he is given this authority. Now, what's interesting here is that when a governor issues a mandate, that mandate is looked at as a law. So everybody who's arguing the police do not have the authority to effectively enforce a mandate, you're wrong. Police have that authority under the authority that the governor is given. So if the governor tells the police to enforce that mandate, technically they have to. I don't like saying it. It pisses me off to say it. I'm aggravated saying it. But technically they have to, because that mandate is a law, sort of. And this is where it kind of gets fishy. So mandates are established in a point when a governor issues a mandate, like I said, in a case of national emergency or state emergency, okay? So they issue a mandate, kind of like they issue a curfew, when there's civil unrest and they're burning down the cities, they issue a curfew. The governor has a right to do it, and it's punishable. Violating a mandate is punishable, because it technically becomes law. But here's where the gray area is. How long? How long does a mandate last? See, there's no definition as to how long it can last. It can only be written in constitutionally as to how long governor has authority. Now, in most states that I've read, they have about 30 days. But then they just reissue the mandate again. So, it ends, and then they reissue the mandate. And so this could go on for eternity. So what's the course of action to take? I mean, what happens? At some point, we have to ask questions. And this is where it's not clear constitutionally in my state and in most as to how long the governor has the right to do this, and at what point does it start to infringe on the constitutional rights of the citizens. Again, the DAG show is about asking questions, provoking thought. I want to provoke thought now. So how long should the governor have the right to continually reissue a mandate, aka a law, that he is allowed to put in place based on his constituency and the electorates that elected, that approved his election. How long should this go on? And that is the problem with that is it's not clear. Again, it's kind of just like, renewing your subscription to the gym. At the end of 30 days, as long as they can charge your card, you can get it. And, they can cancel it and you can re-sign up. So the mandate, he has 30 days in Illinois, to exercise this state of emergency kind of mandate. And then he can just make a declaration and renew it. And every governor can do that all across the country. So this could go on for eternity if we don't stand up like Andrew Krull did and say, enough is enough, dude. You're now at this point we feel, because that's all we have to say, because constitutionally there's nothing written that says we can actually stop it. There's nothing. So we have to stand up and go like Andrew Krull did, and restaurants are doing here in Chicago and all over the country, going, we're staying open, screw you. You don't have the evidence, and now this becomes a legal proceeding, a legal motion that you have to juggling to go through, where you have to get a judge or a state Supreme Court or a federal Supreme Court to agree with you, going, there is no evidence to suggest that sitting outside is going, or being outside is a COVID spreader, regardless of whether I have 100 people in my outdoor patio or 2 people in my outdoor patio. You can't justify that. And then what happens in the legal community is that they reference things that help set precedents, and setting precedents is critical because like when Roe versus Wade went through, that was a federal thing, and it set precedents and allowed states to make their own decisions, but it set a precedent, and that precedent is what judges work off of. So if there's some kind of legal pleading that makes sense and was ruled on in favor of one subject, that's a precedent that was set, that the judges who are trying to rule on other issues step back and go, okay, well, why did they rule on this? They have something to look at. In other words, there's an experience there legally for them to look at. We don't have any of that right now. We really don't. I mean, they're not going to go back to the 1908 pandemic, and I mean, when people reference that, it's just stupid. I mean, medical technology wasn't quite as advanced in 1908 as it is in 2020. So that would be a dumb place to pull ideas from, and most people aren't really looking there. They're just using 1908 as posts. But so to back up here a little bit, I know I'm starting to ramble here, is that a mandate is essentially a law, but it's a temporary law that the governor was given authority to exercise based on his discretion by the legislatures in his constituency. So, again, I'm going to back up, and I'm going to keep saying this here. When does it become? What's the timeline? When do we say enough is enough? I mean, we can't continue, regardless of a mandate, regardless of a law, to destroy our families, our businesses, our socio-economical structure. The suffering is immense. I don't think people really realize how bad the suffering of these mandates are creating nationally. We can look at it within our communities, but I'll tell you, I'm in my car all day shooting for life rides, and I'm seeing businesses close one after another. One that was open yesterday is closed today, with signs on the door, pink notices, and so on, etc., because they haven't for a year been able to pay their taxes or pay their rent or whatever the case may be. I cannot tell you how many. Yesterday, I almost pulled over and took, there's this little strip mall, and there were like 3 eviction notices on it. I almost went out and took pictures, but they had information on there I just didn't want to expose publicly. About the people and the businesses. I don't want to hurt anybody in that regard. So I didn't, but this is something we have to seriously think about. And, this country is divided almost right down the middle. I mean, just look at the election results. I mean, it's almost split right down the middle. So for the sake of argument, we're going to say 50-50. 50% of the people are sick of this on the surface, and 50% are terrified of this. And the reality is that there are a lot of Democratic business owners, and some of them I know, and they are not happy. But if they speak up, they feel they're going against their party's will. You see, this is a cultural war we're in. This isn't about right or wrong, what makes sense and what doesn't anymore. This is a cultural war about a group of people who believe everything should be given to them, and they're entitled to it simply because they're an American. To a bunch of people, compared to a bunch of people who work for everything they have and don't want to give it away. So we're in this really, really terrible place right now where the people who don't understand history do, I'm going to divert here. Okay, when people in Antifa and BLM and on the far left are calling the right fascist, they're making a reference to European fascism. And you would have to understand European fascism and left and rightness, I guess you would say, from a historical standpoint. Okay, so let's use Mussolini. He's really kind of the first and the most prevalent fascist, okay? And Mussolini had this idea that he was going to be somewhat progressive, and although socialism and communism was at the root of it, he was going, and government was going to really run and own businesses on a national level. He was going to grant certain ownership rights to property and to certain people. Some people could have those rights. Okay, back then that was considered far right. That was considered far right. Because Europe is nothing like America. Nothing. And I'll touch on that in just briefly for a second, because I'd really like to do a whole show on history. But that was considered far right. But by American standards, that's far left. That is way leftist. American values, our Constitution doesn't allow for government to come in and take your business and decide what you can and can't own. So when you hear Antifa calling the right fascist, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're using this ideology of European fascism, and what was very, very far right politically, when we look at Mussolini and Hitler and Karl Marx and all these things, that was far right thinking. Because Europe as a whole, if you look at Europe, they're all about, socialized medicine and this and that. I mean, they've been locked in this forever. So, they're really, really if you go to Europe, their right is like our moderate, our independent, maybe our slightly democratic and liberal. So you would have to understand how the rest of the world works, and you would have to understand history to be able to have this real discussion and understand why Antifa keeps calling everybody on the right fascist. It's partially because they're stupid, and it's partially because the ideology sounds so good. I'm going to go work at Starbucks and the government's going to pay my insurance and it's going to be fantastic and great. Oh, yeah. And everybody who doesn't want that is a fascist. No. By definition, what happened back in Europe, back during the days of Mussolini and Hitler, that is what the left is asking for now. That's fascism. What was far right in Europe 70 years ago is far left in America today and always has been. So we have to understand that, and that brings us back to our states having how much authority are they granted and what's the timeline. So I'm not hearing any governors talk about a timeline. They say, well, this could go into 2020. That's not an answer. You're an elected official. I want to know when this shit's going to end and my business can open. That's where people are at right now. This is going to literally destroy small business, which is about 60%, 50% of the entire backbone economically of this country. So if we destroy small business, we're screwed up. And here, let me just lay this out for people who don't know. I have asked people this question year after year after year after year, a million times I've asked this question of the average Joe, and I'm an average Joe. And the DAG show is about kind of common sense thinking, just trying to lay out the important things as simply as people can understand them. That's what I want to do here. But when you ask people, what do you think the IRS defines small business as in terms of revenue? Gross revenues. Okay? So, in other words, for the IRS to determine you a small business, how much total revenues per year do you have to earn? The common answer is $250,000 to $500,000 a year. That's the common answer. I must have heard that answer a million times if I've heard it once. And I've been asking that question for a decade. To be defined by the IRS, a small business is any business making under $10 million a year. So that being said, the real big tax benefits that the left is always complaining about are not seen till you're making $10 million a year. So most businesses in this country don't earn $10 million a year. You know, the pizza place, the convenience store, whatever it is, the boutique pet foods, they're not earning $10 million a year. So not only are they paying in the highest, the most elevated tax bracket as a business, but they have small margins and the least amount of capital to weather these storms that governors are mandating on businesses that are unnecessary. I mean, when's the last time you were in a pet store and, you were wall-to-wall people? I mean, it's preposterous. Again, I made this reference the other day. I go to Home Depot. I don't ever remember, other than standing in line, being close to anybody in a Home Depot, no matter how crowded it was. The place is huge. You're always 20 feet away, 30 feet away from somebody, maybe walk past somebody. Wow, big deal. But these places, it's disturbing to me that you can walk into a Walmart or a Target or a grocery store or a Walgreens, or you can go to a gas station and touch a pump handle that everybody's touched. Nobody's going out there and cleaning the pump handles. Name one time anybody has seen somebody cleaning a pump handle. Name it. I go to the gas station 3 times a day, and I'm telling you, nobody's cleaning pump handles. Nobody's cleaning keypads on pumps. It's not happening. So when you take the ridiculous excuses that governors are giving on TV when they do their press conferences daily, and you take the visual of what's happening out in the real world, you can't help but go, this is ridiculous. I mean, I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're afraid. If you can't sit back and go, well, those are, Dag, you know what? That's a really good point. I've never seen anybody clean a keyboard at the grocery store. I've never seen anybody clean the keyboard at a gas pump. I've never seen anybody clean a gas pump handle or the thing you fill the air up with. I've never seen anybody at the car wash clean the vacuum handles where you hold the vacuum and vacuum the inside of your car. I've never seen that happen. Don't see it. In fact, you go into most public restrooms, they're terrible. I mean, I should do a whole show on where the cleanest restrooms are in Chicago, because I know. I've been in almost every gas station in this country or in this state or city, and I'm telling you, there are some amazingly clean bathrooms, and there are some that are most are just disgusting, despicable, vile places. But anyway, you don't see people doing those things. I don't see somebody at the grocery store standing outside at Target, at Walmart, wiping down, the hand, or at the 7-Eleven, wiping down the handles of the doors for places that don't have automatic doors. So there's all this kind of hypocritical ideology that in nonsense floating around out there that just doesn't make sense. So, okay, you walk into the grocery store and that has automatic doors, but then you go to the shoe store, you got to pull the door open or push the door open or whatever the case may be, and nobody's cleaning those doors because you still got to buy shoes or pants or underwear or whatever, fish food. I don't know. But So, unless you're going to play this game across the board and shut everybody down, the whole country and every store, then it doesn't make sense. No reason a bike shop should be open, but the restaurant next door can't be. Which is going to bring me to another show which is probably somewhat conspiracy theorist, but I got to be honest with you. I'm really working up to a lot of this, going, boy, this all seems pretty weird. The last thing I'm going to touch on, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it this week as I get a little more information. There's some interesting things here before I sign off that are going on. Apparently, there's a lot of activity happening at Nellis Air Force Base with military from all branches piling in there. And the United States has put 2 aircraft carriers, allegedly, out into the Pacific and 1 aircraft carrier out into the Atlantic. What is being theorized here is that with this pandemic and our, rough relationship with China and the Soviet Union, the UK has been watching and monitoring the last 4 days all of Soviet Union's, sea movements. And they went into the Mediterranean. The Soviet Union moved all these battleships into the Mediterranean Sea. And they're saying that it's there for some issue with Syria, but they can come out of the bottom. And what is being thought is that they're going to come and line up in the Atlantic side because if Trump does keep office here, that there's the potential for an invasion, all allegedly. But this is why I don't sleep. There is way too much information coming into me on a daily basis. And last night I got home and I'm like, I was working on the show for a couple hours. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to go to writing. My friend Sarah stopped by for an hour and a half and took a couple pictures. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. My head's going to explode. I mean, this is a supercomputer. It's not just pretty. This isn't just all about beauty. It's a supercomputer up here, but it's on overload. It's like 70 million terabytes, and I think I'm at 72 million. It's just constantly, I'm getting a blue screen when I start thinking. So anyway, but those are interesting things, and I think that there is the potential for this to be bigger. There is the potential for the problems to be bigger. You lock down the most powerful economy in the world. You've done it with a virus that came from China. You have countries like Russia who are still who tore the wall down, but kind of have gone back to a very socialist society that's struggling. Russia is freaking broke, and China is buying up more oil than they ever have, than they need for all their people, as big as it is. They're buying up more oil than they ever have in history. And magically, they're starting to move ships around. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to follow this. I'll keep you guys posted. But I would say pay attention. Turn off the television. Turn it off. Do not watch. I'm a Tucker Carlson fan. Don't watch him. Don't watch Tucker. Don't watch Hannity. Don't watch Maddow. Don't watch Lemon. Don't watch any news. Start reading. And do not read the first 20 articles on the Google search. Go 6 pages in. Because Google, being a leftist organization, is not a good source of information in the sense that they provide it all, but they hide the other stuff. You got to go further back in. They put out the things that they want to propagate, and that's that. And so does Facebook. So, not a conspiracy. Our job here as Americans is to question the authority we've given the people we pay. Do you hear what I just said? Our job is to question the authority that we have given the people we pay. So if you own a company, and let's just say it's a deck building company, you own it. Do you feel you have the right to question your employees on their actions, behaviors, and how that deck was built? Of course you do. Because it's your company. These people that if, these politicians are our employees. We should be waking up every day asking questions. I ask more questions. I have no news feeds. Not one news feed comes to any one of my devices that's conservative. Not one. It's all left, because I already know what the conservatives think. As a conservative, I'm on that team, so I already know what the play is that they're trying to do. I pay close attention to it. But I don't know what the left is thinking. That's who I want to know what's going on. Right? That's where I want to know what they're thinking. Because then, and they say something, and they do occasionally say something that's, that gets me thinking. So now I got to compare that idea against the conservative idea and go try and get as much information as I can. And generally, when I go to Google, the conservative things I can't find, and the liberal things are on the first 5 pages. So I got to really, really dig. So that's why I say that. So if you really want good information, you got to dig. And then you have to go directly to sources. I have a show coming up on COVID, another one, and vaccines. And I'm going to try and pump these shows out every single day. Next week, on Thursday, hold on, let me see if I got this here. The big reveal, man. The big reveal is going to be a great show. And it's hosted by Dino Manzella, 8 p.m. on Thursday, December 17th. Here on the DAG Show. It will be broadcast live on Facebook, and then it will be put on the website and YouTube and all that good happy horse shit. But anyway, make sure you join us for that. The Life Ride stuff is coming along great, and I really appreciate you all joining me for Morning Coffee with DAG. I'm DAG. I'm your host, and I'm your voice of common sense, reason, and provoking thought. Go to thedagshow.com. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe. And big news, man. There's more news coming, so pay attention to the big reveal. I'm going to go ahead and... just kind of sign myself out of this. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank all of you for supporting me. You can, if you would like to support the DAG Show and the team behind it as we grow, you can go to Venmo or Zelle or to PayPal. It's the dagshowusa@gmail.com. If you can contribute something and you can help us grow, we really appreciate it. And we're going to have packages coming out, so you'll be able to contribute and get a cup and a T-shirt and a hat or whatever. So those things are all coming. I love each and every one of you. I love you. Be good to one another and have a great day.